Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I guess, things were right back to normal the very next day, and we finished up some of our classes, and we had the banquet tonight. The explosion occurred on Tuesday. We had the banquet, other meetings on Wednesday, and then we went home on Thursday. And so, we had a great time there. There's a lot of good people. I don't want to discount any of that. And the sheriffs that I met there made some lifelong friends, and I renewed some other friendships. And there were some other sheriffs there that wanted nothing to do with me. And we're quite antagonistic about it. Very antagonistic. But I will say they were in the minority.
I have a theory, Richard, that if some people want nothing to do with you, they're sufficiently charged up that they feel that hostile towards you, you must be doing something right.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with you. My wife has said the same thing. You know what? If you're creating that kind of a response, you must be doing something right.
Exactly.
But there's one thing I want you and all your listeners to know and understand. My presence at the NSA convention proved without any doubt that the Constitutional Sheriff movement, the CSPOA movement, is having an absolute impact. We have made inroads. Everybody knows who I am. Everybody knows about my book, the Sheriff of America. It is definitely having an impact, and the tracks of the Constitutional Sheriff are seen all across this country, and I'm thrilled with that, and thrilled to know that this really is a legitimate solution to what's going on. And the sheriffs on both sides, whether they support this or not, sheriffs on both sides know this is absolutely a solution, and it's working.
And just so that there's no misunderstanding, if you just tuned in, Sheriff Mack is not talking about the NSA National Security Agency. He's talking about the National Sheriff's Association Convention just took place in Nashville, Tennessee. I understand, Richard, that you attended was described as some high-level meetings concerning your constitutional stand for sheriffs across the country. Can you tell us anything about those meetings? Who was in attendance? What was discussed? Anything like that?
I will tell you that the topic of discussion was Sheriff Christopher from Delaware. I will tell you that most of the rest of it was all about the CSPOA and a little bit my Supreme Court case and the history I had there. And I will tell you that it was a very productive meeting. It got very intense. A couple of times it got heated. The people in attendance were the president of the NSA, the new president of the NSA, and the executive director of the NSA, and the attorney for the NSA. So it was 5 of us, me and 4, and I appreciated the time he gave me. And, the exact particulars of the meeting, I'm going to keep that between us. I hope that they will have another meeting with me, and that they will invite me to more meetings. They did not have to have that meeting, but there's no question. And this was, again, brought up to the meeting, that these people are concerned about what we're doing. They know what we're doing. Some of it, they have some misconceptions about what we're trying to do. They've seen some rumors on the internet, and they expressed some concerns about those. And then we just left it at that. But I will tell you, the meeting was supposed to last an hour, and it ended up lasting about an hour and 45 minutes. And for the most part, I thought it was very productive.
If you were made king for a day, and you could do absolutely anything you want to fix your country, what would you do?
I heard you say that before I got on, and man, that is such a great question. I love it. As far as saving the country, leaving that we must all return to God. But and I do believe that. I believe that that's one of the biggest problems facing our country. But without that, just say, okay, I was king and I couldn't force people to be good and to pray or whatever and to read the Bible, blah, blah, blah. The one thing that I would do first and foremost is, oh gosh, there's so many things we got to do. I'm going to have to say the first thing is get rid of all incumbents in Washington, D.C., and then I guess a follow-up to that is have the Constitution enforced in every government in the country. Follow the Constitution at every level of government. Cities, counties, school boards, Washington, D.C., federal government, state governments, everybody. Follow the Constitution strictly and apply it to every situation. If we do that, I believe that we will return to the basic fundamental principles that our country was founded upon, and that will solve every other problem, including economic and spiritual and moral problems that face the country.
You heard it right here on Global Freedom Report. King Richard has spoken. Excellent. All right, now, I want to talk to you about this situation in Delaware. Recently, the Delaware state legislature passed a law, which the governor says he will sign, emasculating the powers of all sheriffs in the state, reducing them to glorified process servers. However, Sheriff Jeffrey Christopher has gone on record as saying he will refuse to obey such a law, stating that it directly violates the state constitution, which empowers sheriffs to arrest criminals. Obviously, you know something about the situation. How do you see this playing out with the state?
Well, I know a lot about it. Jeff Christopher and I become very good friends now. He attended our first convention in Las Vegas on January 30th. He's a good man. I'm hesitant to get all fired up about this, saying it's going to be the greatest case since my case went to the Supreme Court, because I don't trust Delaware and I don't trust what's going on in the East at all. For him to go to the federal district court there in his area, I think will be a disaster. I think going to the circuit court in his area will be a disaster, and I don't think the Supreme Court will take the case. So, with that said, Sheriff Christopher is really going to have a hard time with this. However, he has some other good cases against the county that I think are going to be fantastic, and I think he's going to have great success with those.
Well, now,
the biggest problem with all of that is that the county commission have fired his deputy out from underneath. They have disrespected his office. They have broken the law, and I think Jeff has a tremendous case on some of these other issues. As far as the power of the sheriff issue, that one's got me worried. I don't know if the other politicians, judges are going to support us on this, and that one's got me scared.
Well, let me ask you, before we talk about his lawsuit, okay, clearly he's going up against the state. Now, once the governor signs this, it becomes state statutory law. If he goes about and, say, arrests somebody who's committing a crime in his county, for example, do you think, like, the defense attorney for that person will just file a motion to have the charge dismissed on the grounds the sheriff wasn't authorized by the statute to arrest him? Or do you think the state would come after the sheriff and try and actually, hold him accountable? And do you think the sheriff might go after state officials who do that? I mean, can this escalate?
That's the scary thing, Brett. That's the scary thing. And one chief of police has already come out publicly in local newspaper and threatened to arrest Sheriff Christopher if he tries to enforce the law in his city. See, that's how crazy this is getting.
But then can't he turn around and arrest the police for threatening him?
Well, how can he? Because the state does not recognize the sheriff as having authority to make arrests.
But the Constitution does.
So it would be thrown out. There wouldn't be anybody to prosecute it. There wouldn't be anybody to take care of it. And so, yeah, it's a scary situation. And it is mind-blowing how crazy this has gotten. And Sheriff Christopher has a lot of courage doing this and taking care of this. And let me tell you, it is the number one concern of the CSPOA. It is the number one problem facing any sheriff in our country today. And all of us need to really get behind this. And we've already donated to his legal defense fund. We are raising money for him at the CSPOA. So if anybody would like to donate to help Sheriff Christopher, please do so at CSPOA. You can go there. You can donate there. Or you can also go to his specific website that's already linked on our website.
That's CSPOA.org, correct?
Yeah, CSPOA.org, Constitutional Sheriff Peace Officer Association, CSPOA.org.
Excellent. Now, back to Sheriff Christopher. He's filing a lawsuit against his city council, claiming that,
the county council.
The county council, I'm sorry. The county council, which apparently has issued some edict telling him he can't do what he's constitutionally authorized to do. Now, that's not a direct challenge to the state per se. How do you see that coming down?
It isn't. He's fighting the county and the state, and I've never seen anything like this before. It's absolutely unprecedented. And I'm sure that he's fighting the feds a little bit too, because they're going to be totally supporting the state. Beau Biden, the Attorney General, has submitted a legal opinion that the sheriff does not have arrest authority. However, the state constitution, the Delaware Constitution, says right in the Constitution that the sheriff is the conservator of the peace. How could he be the conservator of the peace and he can't arrest anybody for violating the peace? What's he supposed to do? Call 911? What's he supposed to do? Call the local police and say, hey, in order for me to conserve the peace, can you come and get these guys? This is so absurd, Brent, but the whole thing is what I've been fearing for a long time, and that is the movement to get rid of sheriffs. It is there, it is real, and it's happening. And so we've got a lot of work to do, and I don't believe there's a coincidence in here about the uproar in our country that we have been a part of in creating constitutional sheriffs, and now they're kicking back, and they're fighting back in a very strong way. And you know what? We pretty much thought this was going to happen, and it's happening in other states. I spoke to a New Mexico sheriff who says that his county commission also wants to appoint sheriff or just create their own county police department and get rid of the sheriff altogether. This is a big concern, Brent, and I'll tell you what, if we lose this battle, the ultimate and last solution that you and I have been talking about the last 45 minutes will be destroyed.
Well, unfortunately, the ultimate solution is going to be an armed revolution, and something that none of us want, but I fear more and more is become.
We're trying to avoid that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's build on what you just said. Over the past year, there have been numerous incidents of federal administrative agencies encroaching on the rights of county citizens and the powers of county sheriffs. And for example, in Oregon, the BLM tried to close roads that citizens use all the time, citing federal regulations as their justifications. Local sheriffs have gone up against these agencies. Now, have the feds backed off any of those, or have they escalated? Are these situations occurring with greater or lesser frequency?
Well, in some places they're picking up, in some places they're not. And in some places where the sheriff has stood up to them, almost always, to one degree or another, the feds have pulled back. And that almost, I could say that almost without exception. And so what we need is more Sheriff Christophers, more Sheriff Brad Rogers, more Sheriff Glenn Palmers, Sheriff John Lopez, These are sheriffs who have already done this and had success. Some are still fighting. Some are still in the middle of this battle. And believe me, everybody listening to this program had better get involved in this. I know you're going to have Leap on. Please give my best to them. I totally support these guys. They are correct, and I used to be on the Speakers Bureau for Leap. And we all have a lot of work to do. What I would love to see Leap do is get more involved in some of these other constitutional issues, not just the legalization issue.
I'll be sure to mention that to Neil Franklin when he comes on at the bottom of the hour. How do you intend to celebrate Independence Day?
I've got a couple of speaking engagements, and I'm also going to be with my family, speaking in Bakersfield right before the 4th, and then speaking in Colorado right after the 4th. And the actual 4th, I'm going to be spending it in Arizona with my family. So I'm glad to be doing all three of those.
Now, let me ask you again. I
got to run, Brett.
Before you go, I want you to tell us about the new book.
I've got to run. The new book is The Magic of Gun Control.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely a wonderful satire that everybody should read. You're going to absolutely love it.
And can people get that through your website, sheriffmack.com?
Yes, yeah, right there.
All right. Well, if you have to run, you have to run. Richard, I want to thank you so much for spending this extended time with us. It's been good getting to know you, listeners getting to know you this way. And we'll have you back to talk about the Las Vegas event in September.
Yes,
right.
Thank you. It's going to be a great event. We'd love to have you all there.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Sheriff Richard Mack has been our guest. www.sheriffmack.com and www.cspoa.org.